Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hey, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
Yes, today we have a guest calling in all the way from Germany. Diana Lammerts is a dynamic professional from Germany with a rich background of journalism, public relations, media, and business consultancy. Initially a journalist and radio news anchor, she later transitioned into PR, public relations, where she excelled as an editor, copywriter, and PR consultant. Her expertise spans both sides of media business, enhancing her ability to manage media relations and content creation effectively. Diane's career is very distinguished with a rich diversity. She's also an author, co-authoring a book, and making television appearances, showcasing her adaptability across different media formats. The journey underscores her unique capacity to connect with movers and shakers in various spheres, enhancing her professional stature. She now links entrepreneurs, businesses, and PR agencies with influential contacts, boosting their business opportunities. In addition to her expertise in PR, which extends beyond mere advertising, Diana is now focused on helping her business become more efficient in their processes and communications. Let's welcome Diana.
Hi, happy today's day. Thank you for having me.
Diana, I'm super stoked about having you here. We were just discussing last time we spoke a few weeks ago, you were in Mexico and now you're back in Germany.
That is right. So yeah, a few weeks ago, I was wearing a shirt. Now I'm wearing a turtleneck. That was.
Anyway, we're excited to have you, and just tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you first for the amazing intro. And but with that all considered, most importantly, my goal is to make people happy and to help them reach their dreams, because, and it's a little bit selfish, because this is the best feeling ever when you see your client's face and all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, you made it. And it happened. And there's this one, and sometimes I wish, and soon there will be, because we have AI, we have those AI glasses, and then you just have to blink to take a picture. I could capture that moment, but you never know when it appears. So you're never ready to capture that moment in a picture. But it's just that kind of joy, that kind of, it's almost like little kids opening their Christmas present, and it's exactly what they wanted. And that is just the best feeling ever.
I love that. I would agree.
It's definitely one of the perks of what we do. I think that's one of the things that for Lynn and I, the reason that we do what we do is to help other people realize their own dreams. And it's the huge bonus of what we do in our jobs, make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Before that, though, there's often, like always, a little bit of a hard way. So what I do when I come in, and me being German, we love efficiency. So I'm not only helping you to achieve your goal and your dreams, but also to do so in a very, very efficient and money and time-saving way. Because money is time, and time is money. So and that's something, especially the time, is nothing that we have in abundance. That is the one that is truly limited. At one point we never know when and how much. So having a strategy, and fun fact, when I was younger, I was like, oh my gosh, those strategy, people talk about strategy, do we really need it? Yes. Now I'm one of those people who say we do need a strategy, because if we don't, then we're going to run like a chicken without a head, and that's not going to get us anywhere. Having a strategy in place might take a little bit longer, but you don't go somewhere. Let's say you go into a trip. So yeah, some people are very spontaneous and say, I just hop on a plane. I don't care where I go. I don't care what I have to take with me. I just go and then we go from there. But if you have a strategy, you can see more. You can, let's say you have a day time, you can see so much more than someone who's just like, nah, I'm just gonna land and then I'm gonna see what happens. But if you have a strategy, you can enjoy your day. You don't feel rushed. You can see more and get more out of your trip.
I love that. Well, unless you're on my schedule, my ex used to hate it because they were like, okay, next, because I'm that person who wants to see everything. But well, I love these analogies. However, one of the conversations that we had when we first met is what is even PR? Because there's so many different kind of ideas out there. So I'd like to start there because you are our PR guru and specialist. And I love that. And so I'd love for you to break it down for our audience. Really, what is PR? And then the second question would be, how does this help, especially small businesses and entrepreneurs? Because I know a lot of people think it's for big people, like big business.
I'd rather say specialist than guru because there's always someone who's better and that I can still learn from. And hopefully you never want to be the smartest person in the room. Right. And it also has a little bad connotation. However, there are different ways to approach PR. There's, to me, media relations, that's a lot of getting you publicity, getting you in front of the journalists, in placements and so forth. And then there is a strategic approach. And then there are people who are experts in their field, let's say medicine, real estate, and so forth. And then there are people like me who are generalists who come in, but they ask different questions. They don't ask the same questions everyone else does. And I'm a strong believer in merging ecosystems, which means when I come in, I assess a small business and say, okay, we have this and we have this and we have this. But I ask questions their clients would ask who may not have the knowledge that they have, who may not have the knowledge that this PR person has. However, once I've asked those questions and then we come together, have a strategy, then of course you need to have the specialist PR people on board as well. But then you also have the outside the box thinkers as well. And by all of that, you can create something way bigger. You also need to prepare. Not everyone's prepared and doesn't have to be for crisis PR, right? So, but the thing is, if you have someone who is specialized on media placements, they get you an amazing placement in some TV station. And please bear with the ones that, if you have organic media, that means just like anything that is organic, it can go away. So if your PR specialist places you or gets you into a news media outlet, it's organic, it's earned, then please forgive them. At one point it will go away. It just happens because it's organic. If you have a placement, that means you pay for it. It's called pay for play. And of course that one is going to last. And I think there's good, if you have a good mix of both, that is perfect. If you just have pay for plays, that might not help you with your Wikipedia article if you wish to have one at one day, because they're going to say, no, we need different kind of media in that case. And a lot of people think, oh, we are PR specialists, so we're in competition. No, we are not. If you are specialized in events, red carpet, billboards, and so forth, I'm happy to work with you, because the thing is, I come in all the way before that. I come in as the cleaner. I come in and see, like, okay, we have systems, yes or no? And what do we do if we don't have them? Do the systems still work that you used to have? And then once everything is cleaned up, then almost it's like the decorator, interior designer can come in. The interior designer cannot come in if you have a whole lot of rubbish sitting everywhere and there's no order, there's no strategy. And then they come with their strategy. And your PR person always should have a strategy and not say just, oh, it's like this and like this and like this. So, and again, I love to work together with other PR specialists, because we can together provide a way better outcome for the client.
Love that. Love that. So what do you think is your favorite type of PR in general? When you have, particularly when you're working with a small business, what are you hoping is the first thing that they reach out for?
My favorite part is achieving getting close to the BHAG. And for example, one of my clients, he found his father's artwork after he died, and no one knew about it. It was unique, and it's the only painted Bible. There are no words, no nothing, but you can actually really read the stories in there, and it's about a mile long. What happened eventually, we built up his credibility through media, through networking, and through exhibitions and so forth. So he ended up meeting the Pope. And that was an amazing goal. And we got him a world record as well, for example. Then others, they ended up to be a contributor for Forbes from their perspective, and so much more. So everything is different, and I think maybe that is coming from my background as a news anchor. We were not so specialized on one news, but on many, which also gives you the ability to learn from other projects and implement them into the new project, which also gives you the ability to come with a fresh eye and not always do the same. If I'm very niched and only work with one particular type of client, then I have like a tunnel view. But working with different kind of clients, like, oh, wait a minute, we did this there. So, but if we did this there, that could work as well. And by that, it just basically gives you way more opportunities to do something new, to try something new.
Always like to try something new. I think that's one of the things that we like the most about working with different modalities, different industries, that you do get a wider view, a wider lens, and you can cross, I don't want to say cross the streams, but you have much more, a more open idea bank to pull from. So you have lots of things to pull from, and you'd be surprised what things kind of trickle down into different industries and work so well. So I love that.
Also, it helps you see the forest through the trees, right? So when we can keep a very rounded and healthy perspective and perception on things, we're able to see things through different eyes. And we're not pigeonholed into what should be, right? So we're able to see what could be versus and what the potential is and the direction. I love that.
Yeah, and with the right strategy, I helped one company within almost 3 years to something years to get from 0 to 7 figures. So, you know, anything is possible. Anything is possible with the right strategy and consistency, of course. It's like working out. You can have the right meal plan, you can have the right workout plan. If you're not consistent and then you go overboard and you think instead of reinvesting into your company, you need to, I don't know, buy a Corvette or something, then of course, then it's not going to work. So we are not magicians. We can only put in so much, and the rest, of course, needs to also come from the client as well.
Absolutely. So you're a strategist too. And so you're really helping them put all their cards out and look at the potential of what could be and the direction in which they want to go, creating a plan and then taking them there. So a lot of listeners that listen to us are in the entrepreneurial and more small business space where maybe they're thinking, I don't know if I can afford a PR agency, or I'm not quite sure of like where to go with the strategy, etc. So what would you say are a couple of places to start for those that are new to the idea of PR? I mean, hopefully if they've been listening to us for a while, that they understand strategy, because we talk a lot about that, but are new to the idea of PR, and maybe some simple directions that you can point them to either gain the confidence to contact someone like you, or start to maybe do a little bit of outside thinking of their own to put in the right action.
Well, first off, every PR specialist should have a strategy for their client. If you go to the press department of some corporate company or whatnot, they will always have strategy. They do not go into a situation without having a strategy, and so should your PR person. So to not let anything bad happen. For example, there was a great example, organic press, millions of balloons going up into the air, and then at the same time, they didn't consider, the news media was there, but they didn't consider the weather. And then it turned, and then the situation turned. And then what happened was that all the balloons came back and down, and animals were hurt, humans were hurt. So, and that caused very, very negative PR. So if you do not consider all kinds of situations that can go wrong, then you are at risk. And I'm one of the few persons who says like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I'm wrong, because that means everything went right, right? And I always urge people to reach out and ask questions. First off, there are no stupid questions. And secondly, this is only how you can learn. And public relations is not just media relations. Public relations is so much more. Finding the strategy. What is your voice? It works hand in hand with your marketing team, with your branding team. So it's not anything that can replace those, but adds to it. And that is what a lot of people maybe don't know yet, or has been taught differently, but we actually are just adding to it and not replacing, because they are all different parts of the overall thing, of the overall goal. And in general, what people can do is start with your local news media. But please, and that comes from the journalist in me who used to go through hundreds of emails and press releases, don't send them a headline with 35 words and a sentence that I'm proud to present and yada, yada, yada. And they need to read all those sentences that don't have an end and don't know what they just read. And they need to reread it again, because there's so many news going through your hat during the day that if you keep it short, if you keep it nice, we journalists are humans too, so and we get stressed out as well. And that's what I always consider when I do a pitch, is to keep it short, to keep it on point, and reach out to your local news media. I mean, even if they say no, maybe next time they say yes. Or if there's a topic and it doesn't necessarily pertain to you, but you can speak on it. Let's say, for example, the what can we say? There's a blackout, right? And you have an insurance business, and then you can appear, or you can call your local news media and tell them, hey, so this is what businesses can do right now. I can speak on that. I can give them advice. I can help them get their insurance back. Or if their insurance doesn't pay, then what look out for next time, right? So there's different angles that you can take. Just don't go there and say, hey, I have a new book. Well, that's good for you. Congratulations. You can be very proud of you, because it's a lot of work. But what the people hear is me, and not what do I get? And the journalist is basically, what is my return of investment? What does my audience, because they don't think about themselves. It's like, what does my audience get out of the whole thing? And if you already have a PR person and they do organic media or earned media, the organic media is never promised. If anyone tells you, oh, 100% guaranteed you are going to appear there, it's not earned media. It is placed media, which is also fine, as I said. But even when I was a news anchor and there was a show, if someone came in the middle of the show and I had a news that was the last news, and they would say, drop it, we have a completely alert here, you need to just improvise now and read these news, it wouldn't be aired. So I even couldn't promise anyone that it will air on my way to the studio, so until it was done. So no one can truly promise that anything, even though it's ready, will air or be published.
You made a couple of points in there that I just want to bring back around in a concise way, is that there is the be solution oriented and relevancy. Like, if you can be relevant in that time, and then also obviously understanding that in this world, things can get bumped and pushed and things aren't promised, which is, I mean, life isn't promised. There's only a few things that are, but I do love that. Besides having that strategy ahead, if you know where you're going, lands. It's kind of like understanding your target market too. Like you're going in the right direction, in the right voice with the right people. Same with a PR, like you need to understand your bigger strategy and then micro strategy based on like how you want to show up, how you want your branding to look or be looked at, I should say, or like, you know, taken in with all of that. So I love that to be relevant as well. Amanda, I know you had a question. I saw you.
No, I think when it comes to small businesses, I think it is so important. And I say this because I was thinking of a couple of clients who we were talking and discussing about press releases and how you would send a press release in the way. And they sent me their first draft revision of it or look at it. And the whole thing was just look how awesome I am. And I'm amazing. And they're awesome. They're amazing. For my client who probably was listening to it like, that woman. They were amazing. However, it wasn't focused towards the audience. It was focused towards, look what I've done, not how can I help my community? Because when it comes to a press release, they only want to print things that are going to be appealing to a lot of people or that are going to help a lot of people, not just my show. I get all the things. So, and it's been a recurring theme when I'm teaching people how to understand press releases is that it isn't just a guaranteed you're going to get your name in the paper and everyone's going to be excited about you. It does take strategy and it takes thinking ahead and being more cognizant of what your audience is going to want, what that specific paper or magazine is looking for in their audience. So there's a lot more to publicity strategy than just you have something cool to show off the world.
And they are awesome. I mean, that's why they created what they created. But a lot of times when you explain it, people is not what you hear is not what I say. What I say is not what you hear. That's why I say often times. And to them, it appears that it's only me, but all they want to do is like, listen, I have something amazing. I have something like this young gentleman who created a soap that can cure cancer and who was just recently all over the news. And I bet he had to go to several people and say, listen, look at what I did. It's amazing, but who's going to believe you? Back then, my client with that amazing artwork, no one wanted to listen to us. They didn't like, what are you talking about? Like, it's so hard to understand. What do you mean he envisioned the whole thing and he had no idea before and then he was an expert? What do you mean you just found it? Right? So, but once they saw it, they were like, wow. So how do you explain that in a short moment, right? So you have to, instead of saying, I did this and I did this, like, imagine this. I mean, that it's there's a reason why ChatGPT often starts with imagine this, because it actually, this is how you want to tell a story, right? So yeah, it's absolutely. But please never ever get discouraged when they say no, because there are certain boxes that need to be checked to make something newsworthy. And maybe it is not at the time, but do it again. We never give up. And then the people, the media came to us and said, hey, can we do an interview? Can we look at this? And sometimes it is also, I had a client and he was raffling off a mansion in Italy. And the first thing that I would ask myself as a journalist, like, okay, what's the catch? How do you make the money? Is there a scam? And guess what? That's how I wrote the press release. Because I knew the journalists would do exactly the same, have exactly the same question. And I did the math. And what happened was he didn't make any money at all. He actually sometimes put in money because money went to charity. He helped other people and so forth. And he invested so many hours. So he ended up, because I was responsible for Germany, he ended up to be published in one of the largest newspapers, not only in Germany, but also in Europe. And because for that reason, they asked the very same question, where is the catch? And they couldn't find any.
Like the cleverness of that. But it's getting into the psyche of what will transcend. And also, I do want to bring one other point that I don't think we've mentioned is PR is not an instant gratification thing. It is more of a longer term game. And, you know, we have a lot of clients or a lot of audience that are sometimes will be bought into because it's hard. Like you get swept up in, you want things now. It's like instant gratification. And PR is something that can absolutely help you, but it's a long-term thing, and it builds upon one another. And we used to often say in a workshop that I would teach for a long time that, trust is the hardest to gain, but the easiest to lose. And PR will build that trust, but also it can help you minimize or essentially clean up messes after the fact. Cause I feel like there's like the beginning, the get the ball rolling, the continuing to build, but staying like prevalent and in people's minds. But then there's also the crisis management after something major happens in the PR world.
And you can turn it around, and you're absolutely right. It's like, how quickly can you build trust? How quickly can you build a reputation? And if the client says it's going to take a while, that is what PR does. It's going to take a while to build exactly this. However, even if there is, if something doesn't play out a certain way, you can turn it around with good crisis PR as well. Not always, depending on the damage it did. But there was recently a podcast host who had a very embarrassing situation. His PR team turned it around. Some may say it was planned, some may say it was not planned. Anyway, the result was he came online, he went into the offense, which I think is most of the time is the best thing, because it eventually would come out anyways. And he sold out his swag. So, by turning things around, saying, this is what happened, this is what I did, and so forth, and I apologize. And then he sold out. So you can turn around. Again, if it was planned, it was amazing.
Hey.
And a great strategy. And I pay a lot of respect for that. But yeah, it's that with strategy, you can do so much. But you should be authentic, and you should be honest. That is something that I go by.
Yeah, I do always have to give props to those PR moments, though, that you question, was this planned? And if it was, well done. Really, I mean, we always want to be authentic. We always want to actually fall on the true things. However, there are occasions that I've seen PR stunts that have been magnificently executed. And the whole time I'm thinking that team knows exactly what they're doing. Positive and negative, because there's ways to skew your PR in all sorts of ways. And it's magnificent to see when it's done well.
But for that, you need a strategy. You need to work together with the marketing team, with the branding team, and with the media relations team. So as I said, it's a whole group. It's not just one. It's a whole group of talent that is creating something like that.
Yeah. There's so many questions. So I know we're coming to an end. I guess we probably should wrap it up instead of opening up another Pandora's box, but well, I do want to ask a question before I ask you. Last little nuggets is, a lot of times when people are making budget, forecasting budget, they're not quite sure where to put PR. And if there's a formula or percentage of and I don't know, but especially for small businesses and entrepreneurs, that they should set aside to be able to invest into PR, because PR, I feel like, and I don't know if it's just because I'm learning more and more and I'm being more and more exposed to it over the last few years, or if it is like the movement. I think it might be a little bit of both, being from an outsider who hasn't necessarily seen a lot of PR, but I feel like we need it more and more. So if you're telling a new entrepreneur or a small business or even a seasoned one, is there a percentage that they should be putting aside, and kind of where should they bracket that under?
It would be definitely in the marketing brand building area, because they all
go together,
intertwine,
and
go together, and they also should be in communications with each other to be consistent. I understand agencies have packages. I'm a friend of customizing my pricing. Because the thing is, if someone doesn't have the budget as of yet, then that would be a hard no for them with others. But what if you just say, okay, what are you willing to invest? It's like if you have McDonald's money, you also have PR money. So if you, instead of going to Starbucks, if you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to put this aside and this is what can I do with this? Maybe it can help you just like, teach you how to pitch or, give you a nugget every month. And then by that, you build a house. But with every little brick, you can build the house. You don't have to have $1 million in order to build a house. You can start low and whatever you're comfortable with. But again, it takes time. So that just like building a house, it's not, well, some houses nowadays can be done in a day, but that's more like place media. So if you want to have like a house done in a day and you want to have place media, then of course, it varies between hundreds to $10,000 depending on what you want. So that is nothing, that is debatable. It just is what it is. However, if you say, okay, I'm going to put in the work myself, I want to learn and so forth, then the question is, what are you comfortable with? And what is your budget? How does it look like? And so forth. You also can say, okay, you're right now, I need to focus on this more and I have a little bit less for PR, but I want to be consistent and consistently fill that bucket. And then you get to the goal as well.
Yeah,
of course, if you invest more, then you get faster. It just depends on how patient you can be.
Well, of course, but I love that. Like you can start small, brick by brick, do a little bit of sweat equity as well, but putting it away and actually conceptualizing and understanding that PR for me now is an essential part of, and obviously everybody on this call, but is an essential part of the business, and looking at it from a holistic standpoint and how they intertwine with your marketing team, your branding team, etc. Even if you are the one wearing all of the hats, which we know some entrepreneurs are, it's okay. But I love that you said, listen, like you can roll up your sleeves and do it yourself, but like start sacking away that, so that way you can get bigger movement with somebody who will take your ideas, help you even refine your strategy more to push you in that direction. And I love that. I love that. What is one last piece of advice that you would like to leave the audience with?
Oh, there's so much, so many different angles. Just do it. But when you go out there, make sure you look at everything from different angles, because sometimes doing something can create a crisis. So when you go out and say something and whatnot, just with everything else, be mindful with your words.
Always excellent advice to be mindful with your words. I think that's something we all need to take into consideration every single day, particularly with how things can be misconstrued so easily and without any kind of background there. So thank you so much for all of this. And if anyone is interested in connecting with you, how can they reach out to you?
Well, they can just visit my website, which is dearmediaai.com, or they can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Diana Lammerts, which is DianaLammerts.
Yeah,
of course, we'll put everything in the show notes.
Absolutely. It will be, just scroll down a little bit. You'll have all that information. So, and if you feel like this resonated with you, and if you wanted to share this with your other entrepreneurial or small business friends, make sure you are sending them this link, asking to subscribe and follow us, because we have more in store for you. And as a special extra, if you are interested in hearing more from Diana, you can catch her on our summit coming up, our virtual summit, in just a few days, it feels like seconds. And that's coming up November 5th and 6th. So make sure you catch us at the virtual summit, the Finish Strong, Start Fresh Summit.
Depending on where you're at in the world, because in Southeast Asia, it's all on the 6th. So just time check.
Yes, sorry.
Also in the show notes, we hope to see you there, but also connect with her on social media. Ask her questions, reach out to her. You actually do a consult, correct? Like a mini consult?
I do. I am happy to offer 15-minute consult to see where you're at, to see what your needs are, to maybe help you understand what kind of PR would be useful for you, and what kind of strategy you need.
It's an incredible offer. Thank you, Diane. It was so wonderful to have you on. And I'm so glad you said yes, Diana. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Pleasure.
Thank you for joining. Till next time.
Get after it.
All right, everyone. It's not enough to just listen.
Now you've got to put it into action.
We are so excited to see what you do next.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review on iTunes.
And to find out more about what we're doing, visit us at thepursuitofbadasserie.com.